Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over my team selection and any potential transfers that I'm thinking of making for Double Game Week 23. So if you're excited for the video, make sure to drop a like down below, leave a comment, what players are you thinking of bringing in this week, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, nothing has changed with my team since the last video in terms of points for Double Game Week 22. I'm still on 80. I've still got triple captain Rashford to play, Fernandes and Shaw, so there's not really much point about going over all of that stuff because we did that in the Kneejerk Reaction video yesterday. Let's move on to my team selection for Double Game Week 23. And in goal, we do have Kepa, the hero himself, who's got 10, 9, 10 or whatever, ridiculous points in the last 3 games. And he's now got West Ham away. I think this will be quite a tough fixture though. Like, I know that Chelsea have looked a little bit better defensively lately, but West Ham did look pretty good against Newcastle, so I'm not sure. This could really go either way. I would absolutely love for him to keep this clean sheet streak going and just getting all these bonus points and save points and stuff. And again, he's so high on bonus because Chelsea love to play out from the back, so he's just getting all the pass points as well for like bonus and stuff. So he's a really, really good option to have right now. And again, his fixtures are still really, really good as well. But yeah, West Ham away, I could think of worse fixtures to have. So hopefully he can keep this clean sheet situation going. But if not, I mean, he has literally got me 29 points over the last 3 game weeks. But yeah, fingers crossed he does keep returning. But yeah, Kepa in goal, West Ham away. There's no way in hell I'm playing Ward away at Spurs over Kepa. Kepa is the main man, arguably the best keeper to have right now in FPL. And a lot of people did go to Edison because of like the doubles and stuff, and it just hasn't really worked out in his favor. Kepa, if you're stuck with him, you must be loving life because he is just returning every single week. So anyway, that's my goalkeeper. At the back line, we have Trippier, who's got Bournemouth away. We've got Shaw, who's got Leeds away. And then we've got Ben White, who's got Brentford at home and City at home. So yeah, this is an interesting back line this week because obviously Trippier away at Bournemouth, you're expecting a clean sheet in that game. The only problem is I don't have double Newcastle defense, and a lot of people do. So I think that's going to really hurt my rank this week. I kind of just, every time Newcastle play, I pray for them to concede. It never happens, apart from last week. Yeah, Bournemouth away, I think if you've got double Newcastle defense, that's just, you're in a really nice position to get some clean sheets there. I've got Shaw, who's got Leeds away, who potentially I will be benching this week, should I say, if I do decide to bring in a City defender. And then I've got Ben White, who's got Brentford at home and City at home. I mean, a lot of people are a little bit worried about Ben White's minutes in terms of whether he's going to get like subbed early and stuff. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Like, again, he only made it to 45 in the Man United game because he picked up a yellow card, and I think that was just a tactical play. Like, if he hadn't picked up that yellow, then he would have played like another 45 minutes or another 35, 40 minutes or whatever. I don't think it's as massive a problem as people are making it out to be. I'm absolutely fine having Ben White, Brentford at home and City at home. And again, arguably you could say that Shaw potentially could get like around the same amount of points as an Arsenal defender this week because Leeds away, United should be picking up a clean sheet there, especially because Leeds have just sacked their manager and everything. Whereas Ben White, you know, potentially should be getting a clean sheet against Brentford at home, but then City at home, I mean, they could arguably get a clean sheet in that game as well. But either way, that's the back line at the moment, but Shaw could easily get replaced with a City defender. The midfield, we've got Rashford, who's got Leeds away, Fernandes, who's got Leeds away, Ødegaard, who's got Brentford at home and City at home, and then Martinelli, who's got Brentford at home and City at home. So obviously I have a very lack of, I've got a lack of City players in this team, which is obviously what we're going to talk about when we go over the transfers in a minute. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of this midfield in terms of having Martinelli in my team. Is he going to like start missing games and stuff? I honestly don't know. Like, it's not like Arsenal were playing really, really well against Everton and then like Martinelli was the bad player and then they had to get rid of him. They just did it tactically. Like, Ødegaard came off on like the 76th minute as well. It just wasn't working. It's just how Sean Dyche kind of set the team up and everything. So obviously props to Everton with how they played. But yeah, again, Ødegaard has basically played like 90 every single game. And he even got subbed early. So with the Martinelli one, again, is he a hold? Is he a sell? I think if you have the option to sell him this week, I definitely would, because the way I see it, like even for a -4, because the way I see it is like going into game week like 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, because Arsenal don't blank in 25 and 28, and they are big blank game weeks, and so you need players that you know are relatively nailed and they're going to get a solid like 80 to 90 minutes in that game week, because if they just come on for a cameo with a 1-pointer, it's not really worth having them. And I just think Saka and Ødegaard are going to outscore Martinelli over the next like 5 or 6 game weeks. just as a personal opinion, because I think they're going to get more minutes. Saka is probably still going to be on penalties as well if Jorginho is not on the pitch. And even if Jorginho is on the pitch, I could still see Saka getting the pens. There's no reason for him to not be on them. You know, he's not missed any this season, I don't believe. And he's not missed any actually since I think the Euros. Yeah, that's why I would prefer to have Saka over Martinelli. If you have other fires in your team that you need to get out, like players that are going to blank in 25 that you need to start thinking about getting rid of, like if you've got, you know, double Newcastle, you've got Tony, you've got another Brentford player, you've got a couple of Brighton players, obviously you've got 3 Man United players. You may have to sort those out if you're not playing your free hit in Game Week 25, because obviously they're just going to be blanks regardless for those players. But if you are kind of sorted for Game Week 25 and you are sorted for Game Week 23, you might be in a really nice position where you can just get rid of Martinelli and bring in a Saka or someone like that, or an Nketiah for a striker, and then obviously just downgrade Martinelli to somebody else. Either way, that's my midfield though. We'll talk about what I'm going to do later on. Up top, we have Mitrovic, who's got Forest at home, Kane, who's got Leicester away, and then Haaland, who's got Villa at home, and then Arsenal away. A lot of people are thinking of getting rid of Mitrovic this week. I don't know why you would. Like, Forest at home is a really nice fixture, as much as I don't want to say that as a Forest fan. Yes, we are a lot better, but that's just at the City ground. Like, away, we're not really that good. And again, going to Fulham is a tough fixture. Mitrovic, I think he did quite well against us in the reverse fixture early on in the season, because I think we lost like 3-2 or something or whatever. And I think Mitrovic might have scored in that game, might have got an assist or something. But either way, it is a really nice fixture. And I know people are going to get rid of him for like Nketiah and stuff, but is it really worth it? Especially for like a hit. Like, I don't know, like Brentford at home and City at home, they're not the greatest fixtures. I know they're both home games, but at the same time, Forest at home, I think, is a really nice fixture for Mitrovic. Again, we don't know if he's off penalties yet. He potentially could be, but at the same time, I don't think he's like an immediate sell. If you can find a way to get like Saka, Ødegaard, and White or something like that and keep Mitrovic, it's probably a little bit better. Anyway, that is how my team is shaping up as of right now for Double Game Week 23. Let us move on to my transfers, which of course I'm going to be making this week. I've got 1.9 mil in the bank and I've got 1 free transfer. Again, I don't have to worry about the blanks yet. I've got 4 players that are going to blank in Game Week 25. But then obviously I've got 2 players that also aren't playing. So all in all, I've got 6 players that won't be playing in Game Week 25. And I've got my Game Week 20, going into Game Week 23 transfer, going into Game Week 24 transfer, and going into Game Week 25 transfer. So 2 of those have to be used on Patterson and Cancelo, which gives me 4 players that I have that aren't going to be playing. And then obviously my last transfer for Game Week 25 will be used on one of those. So I have a full team of 11 players for Game Week 25. That's how I've shaped it up, barring any injuries. If I have injuries and stuff, then I won't be in a great position. But if all goes well, I should have 11 players ready for Game Week 25. So, my transfers this week, what am I thinking of doing? There's a lot of different roads I could take this week. I think I will be taking a hit, and I think this is the week I finally get rid of Cancelo. It's just, I don't really know who to bring in for him. Like, I can't bring in any Newcastle players, really. I mean, Bournemouth away is obviously a really nice fixture, but I'd bring him in for Bournemouth, and then I'd have to get rid of him as well. It's just not really worth it. And so, arguably the best idea is probably just to bring in a City defender, which I was always going to do. And then it just comes to the idea of which City player do I bring in. I've got 8.9 mil in the bank. I think the best option is probably just Ake, potentially Akanji, because Stones is out for a few game weeks, but I kind of want somebody a little bit more long-term, and Ake seems to be in Pep's favour. So I think one of my transfers this week kind of has to be Cancelo out for Ake. It's getting rid of one of my players that won't play in Game Week 25. It's bringing in a double Game Week player. It's bringing in Ake, who should play both. Who should start both, but again, you never know. And at the same time, you're only really expecting them to keep a clean sheet against Villa. So that's why I don't think like a City player in defence is a necessity, but it's always nice having double Game Week players because obviously anything can happen. But I think City do concede against Arsenal. I think Arsenal concede against City in this game as well. Yeah, and then it's just the Villa game. And I mean, they didn't look too good in the last game, Villa didn't, but you know, they did still score 2 goals. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one. Luckily, it is at the Etihad, so I mean, it's the whole thing about City as well, this whole like breaches thing and this whole like illegal stuff they've been doing or whatever. That's also hanging on the head. I think there's a lot of there's just a lot of bad energy in the camp right now, and whether that just keeps going into the games and stuff, there's clearly problems at City right now, and there's obviously talk of like Pep already like maybe leaving and stuff if all these sanctions do go through. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a necessity to have 3 City players for this double. If you've already got them, then that's great, that's fine, you obviously play them. But if you don't, and you can only get to them by taking like a couple of hits and stuff, I don't think it's the best idea in the world, because you don't really know who's going to be like benched and who's going to start. Like Mahrez came off like before 60. Again, if he did score that goal which hit the crossbar, then we would obviously have a different conversation about him. De Bruyne did get rested against Spurs, but he seems to just be getting rested against teams that play 5 at the back. And I don't think any of the teams they've got coming up in the next 4 game weeks do that. Like Forest did in the reverse fixture, but we don't do that anymore. Villa don't, Arsenal don't, Bournemouth don't. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of an interesting one, but yeah, I think for this and the fixtures coming up, I think I'm just going to go Ake. He seems to be very much nailed right now. He might miss the odd game, which again is, you know, like any City player can. So it's just the situation when you do bring in a City player. So anyway, my one transfer this week that I'm definitely making, I think, is going to be Cancelo to Ake, and it gives me 3.8 mil in the bank. So this just kind of gives me loads of different kind of avenues to take now. So one thing I could do is obviously just get rid of Bruno Fernandes, and then I can just bring in De Bruyne, which I'm not completely against, even though I've just been speaking all of, like, just completely talking about all of that stuff about City. And that does give me 3 triple City, 3 triple Arsenal, and it just kind of sorts me out for double game week with just the -4. And again, it probably is worth a -4, especially with the fixtures that De Bruyne is coming up and stuff. But the only problem with this is that I really want to get rid of Martinelli. And if I only have 1.3 mil in the bank here, I'm obviously going to have to use a little bit on Patterson, which again, my whole idea for Patterson was to bring in Mings somewhere down the line, just because they've got a decent game week 25 and game week 28 fixture. So that would only give me like 0.9 mil in the bank. And there's not really any decent Arsenal player I could bring in for Martinelli, unless I have to get like rid of Nketiah, like bring in Nketiah for Mitrovic and stuff like that. So it's just kind of all over the place if I do bring in De Bruyne. I could also bring in Mahrez, but again, Mahrez's minutes, you never know if they're a little bit all over the place. And I could easily bring in Saka like later down the line, but I don't know, because I kind of want Leeds away for Fernandes. I think that's going to be a really nice fixture, especially because they've just lost their manager. So this week, I'm even thinking, and again, I don't know, let me know your thoughts on this. I'm even thinking of just doing Ake for Cancelo and then just getting rid of Martinelli for Saka for a hit. And I know that's very much a sideways transfer, but I think I'd feel so much more comfortable having Saka over Martinelli for the next like 5 or 6 game weeks, 1000%. And I want to get Martinelli out of my team. I want to start bringing in players that I know are more likely to start and stuff, especially for these doubles, for these blanks that are coming up. And that means I'd still have like obviously 4 blanks and stuff, and then obviously the Patterson situation, which again I should be able to sort out before game week 25. But again, I think it would cause me taking another hit. So it's just, I don't know, I feel like I need to start getting rid of these players. So yeah, I don't know, it's a really tough one. I think in order for me to not take another hit, I have to get rid of Fernandes or someone this week. But again, I don't know who to get rid of, because I kind of want them for Leeds. So yeah, I might just have to take another hit down the line, because that's my game week 23 transfers. Game week 24 would be like Fernandes out. And then, to be fair, then game week 25 would be Patterson out. I could still be all right. I wouldn't have to take another hit. But again, who do I bring in for Fernandes in game week 25? Potentially like Mahrez or something. But I don't know. I think this is what I'm going to do. I really like it. I know it might seem a little bit sideways to some people, but I've got a good feeling about Saka this week. I think he's going to go big in the double. And again, then I've got him for all the fixtures as well going down the line. Anyway, this is just a preliminary kind of team selection video. It's going to change a lot by the time that the deadline rolls around. I'll do my final team selection later on in the week. Anyway, though, I've been talking nonsense for the last 10 minutes. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave a comment. What are your transfers this week? Subscribe if you're brand new. Until next time, peace.